Greetings, welcome to our 6th of March 2023 live stream. We are here in the UK, finally in British summertime, so potentially these miserable cold winter nights are gonna be a thing of the past. Always something to look forward to. I hope things are well in whatever part of the world you might be tuning in this evening. I'm going to start by saying hello to Maria Ellender, Midnight Scribbler, Tony Whitcomb, Nathan Oakley, Jeff Gashead, for taking the time to say hello in the live chat. If anyone else wants to say alright, then you're always welcome. I'm also inviting any subjects anyone thinks we should look at. Back on the midweek live stream, Midnight Scribbler suggested a video by Stu Peters, which we can certainly have a look at this evening. I also mentioned in the pre-show that we'll be playing out tonight with a video about dolls and how they have involved themselves in the push to make everyone think that they could die of a cold, to live in fear anytime they hear someone coughing or sneezing. That's one for later. But on that note, someone mentioned Shamima, which is a name I've kind of heard about but not massively looked closely at. Well, apparently she was cradling a doll, which I'm definitely interested to take a look at this tonight as well. Maria mentions the Nicola Bulley story, which we did look at least some detail during one of these live streams. I'm not sure if I put an individual video out about it, but in fact I think I dedicated a live stream to the story. We've definitely touched on it before. Apparently Google Earth changing some of the names of the streets involved, and Maria says some very weird things going on with that story. Completely agree. On the subject of brutal murders, actually, as horrific a subject as that might be, they are totally worth scrutinizing and investigating. And it is actually no surprise to me that the most horrific things we hear about, the things that really depress us to the core, are the things that are actually probably not legitimate, not genuine. If you can think of a depressing story or something, I mean, obviously miserable things happen in life, I don't doubt that. However, the ones that get the attention of the mainstream media are, they generally tend to be on another level. So I like to scrutinize it, and I thank everyone for whoever's tuned in to join me on that journey. As I've said many times, it is one of the few times I give myself to look at mainstream media a Sunday in research for my stream. AJ says summer starts from June 21, 22. From June since 2021, 22. Okay, fair enough. I always considering seasons pretty much haven't changed. Obviously you get I always consider December, January and February to be winter, March, April, May to be spring, and June, July, August to be summer. And then what have we got to? October, November, December, fall or autumn, and November, December, January. They generally work in 3 monthly cycles. But you're absolutely right. Summer doesn't begin yet, but we are at least, the sun is coming back to us. Traversing its way back to the Tropic of Cancer. So we'll get the benefit from that. Although last year was, for a couple of months, absolute scorchers. Anyway, and of course mainstream wastes no time. You get a couple of hot days and they're instantly putting programs out about this untypically hot heat wave for this time of the year, and yet the weather generally, they predict some long, miserable heat wave and fields are going to be catching fire. Water's going to be at an all-time shortage, and summer just ends up being exactly as it always is. Same with a bit of flooding. I mean, floods have happened as far back as I remember. I know they happened long before I was born, and yet when flood season comes around, they treat it like it's somehow because of man-made climate rubbish. But yeah, that is again one of the most depressing things you could possibly think of, in that the world will one day be uninhabitable. I wouldn't put any belief in any of the predictions that we hear on TV. That's just, yeah, my call on it. Right, where are we going to start? Shamima tonight. Let's see, let me just line up. Yeah, we are also going to look at high profile murders. I mean, and I'm inviting anyone that that's got any that they think, just like Nicola Bulley, any others, because I can't actually remember any. Shamima Begum, that was it, right. This is the person, as far as I remember, who requested to be, after going off to join ISIS, did they request to be allowed back or something? Apparently this person has been seen with a doll. Let's see, one way or another, I'm guessing. Yeah, this story's been going on quite a while from what I remember. Oh, ISIS slave claims she saw, right, we'll have a look at a video of her talking. Interview. And see if we can see her with her baby. Maybe I should put "and baby." Oh, here we go. I'm guessing this is...
Please find...
Of course, reading every word off a script. Is that the same person as we see here? Right, let's put some context into this video. The moment IS bride learns she's lost UK citizenship. Of course, she had cameras for, on hand for this moment.
Find enclosed papers that relate to a decision taken by the Home Secretary to deprive your daughter Shamima Begum of her British citizenship. In light of the circumstances of your daughter, the notice...
Hang on, I don't see a baby in this. Right, let's open it on YouTube if I can. Right, what's going on?
Please.
I think we do, yeah. I think we will see a baby in a minute, so I appreciate your patience.
Find enclosed papers that relate to a decision taken by the Home Secretary.
Is that meant to be a baby in a towel?
It's kind of heartbreaking to read. I thought it would... My family made it sound like it would be a lot easier for me to come back to the UK when I was speaking to them in Barbados, but it's kind of hard to swallow. Yeah, it's a bit upsetting and frustrating.
They're keeping that baby well and truly under wraps. Could just be someone's hand moving. I mean, we've got an unattached baby grow. Is that supposed to be? Well, that's all the evidence I need that this person's got a baby with them.
I feel like it's a bit unjust on me and my son. Yeah.
But you've done this to your son. I mean, this is a consequence of your actions.
Are we going to see any duping delight in this? Perhaps we already have, and we haven't actually watched all the way through. I have skipped through in the hope that we would see her hold her baby. Let's go. I bet if you watched it long enough, you would see some micro expressions going on with this one.
See me as a threat, like, to the UK. My husband is from Holland. He has family in Holland. Maybe I can ask for citizenship in Holland. If he gets sent back to prison in Holland, I can just wait for him while he's in prison.
That doll, although we saw it moving around earlier, is pretty static to me.
But there's no other option than that.
And your message for your family?
You know, I want to apologise a lot for what I put them through. But right now I really need their help to get me back, because I can't stay here. I can't raise my son in this camp. I don't...
You've destroyed their lives.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem none too fussed. Yeah, is this a genuine woman that's desperately trying to come back into the UK? Could be the case. Have they just said, look, if you get seen with a baby, it will certainly help your case. However, if this is legitimately a bunch of rags she's holding here, and the interviewer, happily for ITV News is happy to interview her with a inanimate baby on her lap, then how can you take any of their content seriously?
You know, I travelled with some of them to Istanbul to retrace your footsteps, and they're devastated and they're heartbroken.
Yeah.
And that's a result of your actions.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I saw the on the internet, the news and stuff, and I saw them asking
just about to get a glimpse of it there. She makes sure the cameras do see the face.
I saw them asking to.
A conveniently quiet and still baby. Right, I'll just slow that down a minute so I can get a close up on it.
I saw them
not fussed at all.
asking to.
There we go. That's as good as it's gonna get. We will try and yeah, I mean, for one thing, it doesn't seem to move, it doesn't seem to react. She barely seems to have any emotional attachment to the object on her lap as she talks, momentarily sniffing in the hope that we'll think that she's upset about the situation she finds herself in. Yeah, I don't know the actual full story of this one, but just based on what we've seen, let's see, we'll watch it through, we'll give him a chance. Perhaps that baby will jump into action in a minute. And I'll set the playback back to normal.
For me to come back, but
Why did you ignore them?
because I thought I was doing the right thing by being a part of Islamic State. And that
How dare you want to be a Muslim woman?
they were wrong for wanting to stay in the UK, not wanting to come with me. I've seen the impact it's had on them after I spoke to them.
That actually doesn't particularly look much like the person we see later on. Hang on. Oh, maybe it is possibly the same, but her face is a lot
A BBC investigation.
less, I don't know.
2015. She met the agent Mohammed al-Rashid at a bus station in Turkey in 2015, and she is currently
Yeah, they've either...
in Turkey in 2015.
She seems to have lost an awful lot of weight in her face compared to this person that we're looking at here.
After a while they got over it and the guilt kind of...
Very big teeth as well. I'm not sure how this one will look, if we even see them talk.
And she is currently
Okay, she's got the same big teeth, I will say
challenging
that.
the removal of her British citizenship, arguing that she was a victim of trafficking. A forthcoming BBC...
Could be the same person, but they don't look particularly identical in that one. Right, I've got my numerology calculator open for something for another subject we're going to have a look. I will put in Shamima. It's a 32, which we will see quite often. 32 in Pythagorean and 23 in Chaldean. Shamima Begum. And of course, Begum, a play on name, begging them to let her back into the country. Okay, Begum. Did I spell that correct? Begum. Yeah, I'm sure Wikipedia have a page set up for this woman, and I'm sure her story has been covered by every single news outlet, which for me is always a bit of a giveaway. If there's any more footage of her with her baby, I would like to, yeah, Shamima Begum. There's of course a Wikipedia article that meticulously breaks down every second of her life. Just like, almost like a fan page. Yeah, that would certainly be one I would be suspicious on. Right, I'll have a look at the live chat. Maria says, governments to test emergency alert system on mobile phones to warn people about the extreme weather events, flooding. We did cover that, Maria, in the midweek stream actually, and my advice was not to believe anything you hear on mainstream media, because I've heard that our phones will be taken over and we'll have to switch off, but I'm going to guess, and as I said during the midweek stream, making predictions, I've never done that well with, but I'm going to predict that no one, or hardly anyone's phones will be affected. We'll see, maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe the mainstream, and that is where this story's coming from. We'll see, yeah. And of course I believe there's ways on most of these phones to switch off the settings, but yeah, I believe it would be in a notification settings, I'm guessing. AJ says it's probably a test to see if the public will tolerate someone's citizenship being taken away. Yeah, maybe. Keep us of the opinion that when whoever British or American forces went in and bombed the absolute crap out of wherever it was, they dropped bombs all over the place. Was it Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq? That it wasn't just a rebuilding campaign. Keep us believing that there's definitely an enemy out there called IS or ISIS. Yeah, that happens to be the name of a Roman god. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. And the Roman connection is nothing to see here. So yeah, as for the legitimacy of this story, no. Again, I would say covered by every mainstream media outlet is enough for me to doubt it. Yeah, Express, Mail, The Sun, The Times, Coventry Live, Weekly Blitz, The Mirror, The Guardian, every single one of them thought that this person's efforts to get back into the United Kingdom was worthy of saturating people's consciousnesses with. I can fortunately say it's the first time I've ever read any of the stories, although I have seen her on TV, because this story's been going on for a long time. Right, with Baby, we'll have one more look for a baby, and then we'll move on to... Is that the only time we ever see that baby? Okay, we've got more images of it. Again, completely wrapped up and covered up, which, fair enough, I understand why people wouldn't want photos to be given of. But yeah, that does look fake AF as far as I'm concerned. Again, no evidence there that that is a genuine child. Perhaps this person does have a child. I don't know, but they certainly lost a lot of weight in their face. And I will point out on this person, anyone else seeing a slightly exaggerated jawline there? Is that typical of women? Also, the ears look drastically out of proportion in this image. Does that mean it's a Photoshop? Not sure. Not necessarily. I mean, they've got an actress willing to sit in front of the cameras. But yeah, she is definitely a member of the Strange Ear Brigade. So yeah, that's another one I'm gonna save. Yeah, that's okay. Shamima, I guess this story, is it now done and dusted with, or do they carry on telling us about them? Because maybe it'll be something we go back to one day. That's surely not meant to be them, is it? Again, looks like completely different people there. Who knows? They've just put their specs on, of course. Is that meant to be the baby? Surely not. No, that's just a hoodie she's decided to not wear. I don't know. Yeah, the baby never seems more than just a pile of rags that she has to carry around. So I'm gonna say I'm not convinced on that one. AJ, you don't think she's a crisis actor? Perhaps not. Okay, but I don't believe that's a real baby though. I'm gonna agree with, who was it in the comment that said that she was just carrying a doll? Let me see. That was Jeff Gashead. Yeah, good spot. Doesn't mean, obviously, this person doesn't have a baby in real life, but they weren't showing it on TV. And any media outlet that is prepared to interview a woman while she holds a doll, nah, not one I'm going to give much belief and credit to. But yeah, thanks for bringing that one up. By the way, I am every so often stupid enough to put the BBC iPlayer on. Well, my wife does, and I sometimes sit in and watch them, but half the time these programs make me sick and I genuinely can't. One of the programs that come up is called Parole, and it mentions people in prison and how they're trying to get released on parole. Obviously, name's pretty self-explanatory, and it follows the stories of what were no doubt quite high-profile murders. I'm going to try and zoom in on this. Why is that not? We want the video, so I'll have to put that in big screen when we watch it. Hang on, is this the right one? Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe it was this one we wanted. Yeah, wife of a victim who was kicked to death in 1997 says life is a life. Again, these high-profile murders are massive deals. We'll just watch a clip of this a minute. We'll keep the audio on.
To me, the right decision would be to keep him locked up. So to me, a life is a life. Because Lee's not allowed to live.
Right.
So to me, a life is a life.
Look at the shape of this guy's head. Does that look real?
So why should he be allowed to live? Lee was never given a choice. That choice was taken away from him, whether he lived or died.
Another member, unfortunately, they put some up every time I try pausing it, but that woman would be another member of the Weird Ear Brigade.
So why should Colin Stacey have a choice?
Okay, the people involved in this story. Here is the victim, actually. Right, we'll have a look at the headline a minute. Woman whose husband was kicked to death in 1997 says evil killer should stay locked up because a life is a life in a new BBC documentary about parole. There was a time I thought documentaries, they only speak the truth. Even if they're maybe biased one way or another, they're at least being honest with us, right? Could it be that BBC documentaries are as much a fairy tale as every other part of what we see on TV? Okay, so a woman who's had... Of course, yeah, we'll go back to the numbers on this. I do have some photos to share. 1 minute, I just want to bring them up. So I'm going to take the screen off a second. Oh, we've got them up already. Yeah, on this story. Let's see if anyone can... yeah, okay, right. This goes back to March the 25th, 99, although this was when the guy was jailed. I don't know what date the actual murder took place. Brighton thug Colin Stacey was today jailed for life for the brutal killing of a rival football supporter. Right, we will just get the numerology calculator out for this one. As the victim was called Lee Shaw. If we put in Lee Shaw, 47 in Pythagorean, another 32 in Chaldean. Colin Stacey, what about his name? He's a 36, so again, well, 3 6s, 32. It is, seems to be one of the common numbers we see coming up. I'm not sure if we'll see these numbers come up much more. But anyway, yeah. Colin Stacey and Lee Shaw have a rather interesting... oh, wrong way. Have a rather interesting... yeah, this guy here. Who do you think this is? Is this a photo of Colin Colin Stacey when he was... before he was arrested? Or is it a picture of the victim? Let's go back to that. Well, let's find a video, an image of him. Yeah, there's Colin Stacey. Which one is that? Victim or... yeah, there's another image of him just there. In fact, maybe we can get a couple of close-ups, one next to the other. Are they going to let me do that? No, apparently. Yeah, and this isn't the first time we've looked at brutal murders and the victim and the victim and the defendant look absolutely identical. I mean, I don't know whether you can see the similarities between these people. There's not that many images of them, but the ones they used in Parole are the same ones they used in the documentary, almost as if that's all there were. Like when I look for Lee Shaw, the amount of images that come up for him. Let's see. There might be more that I haven't actually seen, but no, it doesn't even, the actual Colin Stacey. Tell you what, let's have a look. Yeah, we can only find images of yeah, here is Colin Stacey. I am going to get a side-by-side comparison if I can. And see if you guys can see it as well. Right, hang on. Let's go back to... this is the man here. we'll line them up now. Okay, this is the victim on one side. And where's the other one? This is after like 15 years or so. This is the person that admitted murdering him. I don't know, can anyone else see it? Could they not be, at the very least, brothers? Well, apparently no, they're not. One's a Manchester United fan, one's a Brighton fan. Yeah, very disturbing programme. Especially if you were to take it seriously. I don't know. They look absolutely identical. Of course, one of them, their nose goes down slightly one direction. The other, the kink, seems to be opposite. Slightly different hairstyles. Otherwise, they've got the same kind of cheekbones. Same small eyes, quite close together. Ears, okay, the ears might not be identical, but they can easily be changed. Yeah, I'm going to call this one out as a bit suspect. Yeah, I am. Yeah, any brutal murders where that might be one I have to come back to at some point, but of any brutal murders. Right, having a look at the chat. Maria says the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, a private prison in South London, is called ISIS, which is the original name for the River Thames. I did not know that. I know it's is it not Hermes' son or something, or sorry, daughter? And isn't another name for ISIS Diana? I do believe some of these names are, yeah, that we hear lots of, often have some kind of relevance that we might not immediately appreciate. AJ says the Thames was the original word. It's an old Brythonic word which means dark water. I was told, actually, oh no, Avon means river. So yeah, I know a lot of rivers, that, like the Thames River, for example. Thames would have been just the original word for river, as Avon was the original word. The Roman, or the, yeah, I believe the Roman, or the whichever it was. Whoever was here before the Romans, when they asked what they call the river, they just said, oh, that's an Avon. So yeah, thanks for the information, AJ and Maria, on that one. Yeah, so out of interest, regarding the emergency alert, are we concerned by it? I mean, I'm certainly not. My phone isn't particularly the newest, and yeah, there we go. They kind of look different there, but they also look ridiculously similar in that, you know, could be the guy 20 years later. And yeah, this person, I don't know if that's a join on their neck. Let's have a look. Is this where they attach the rubber mask? How many prisoners would be comfortable with their parole being televised as well? That's another thing about this programme. If you were getting out of prison, the last thing you want is for people to be reminded that you kicked a guy to death. But I think he did end up getting parole, according to the story. I didn't watch it to the end, but as I said, my wife watched it, and she said they did get parole. Yeah, so maybe this programme, I've only seen a little bit, and I was absolutely blown away by how much the victim and defendant looked alike. Right, Maria says Isis is the mother of Horus. Horus, sorry. Gotcha. Horus is that bird-shaped, well, the one-eye symbol and a bird shape. Yeah, it's like a bird's eye, and that's Horus from what I remember. Okay. Right. Let's see. We've got a couple other subjects to look at. I mean, Nicola Bulley has much changed in that one recently. By the way, there is another baby story that we might touch upon at some point about a 21-year-old mother who's had 2 sets of twins 14 months apart after thinking she couldn't have any kids. Is again picked up by a few media outlets, not absolutely. Is it actually right? We've got the Daily Express, Daily Mail, Wales Online, Manchester Evening News, and the Express all covered this story about a mother having twins. But yeah, it doesn't get the sort of attention some news stories do. So, who knows? Who knows on that one? Have to see if they've got an Instagram account. Yeah, that's one we might have a look at in a bit. Apparently, now, the video we played in with was looking at the women that Prince Harry has been connected with, and I did ask the question in some of them. Does that woman have a very strong jawline? Does that woman have a very sloping forehead? Are their shoulders ridiculously wide? So, when it, there are some, I mean, there are sometimes you may actually end up thinking, is every person that gets on mainstream, a trans? But whilst I don't actually think that's the case, I think they are massively, they're used a lot more than we might expect. Like if we knew, say, like soap actors, for example, if we knew what they were in real life, we might be absolutely blown away and unable to believe it in a lot of cases. But then it comes to someone like this, Eddie Izzard, where they are publicly coming out as a trans, and then it begs the question: what are they? What were they in the first place? Because I've got to say, this person makes actually a very convincing woman. But just to make sure no one's forgetting that if you want to believe you're a woman, then anyone that tells a man not to wear that which pertains to a woman is being repressive. Right, have we got a video of this person talking? I think we do. Yeah, Lorraine Kelly, of course. Hang on. We'll just hear Eddie, or Susie as she's now called, talk.
You like Susie? You're trying Susie?
Well, since the age of 10.
Tell me about Susie, because you love the name, right?
Yeah, when I was 10, I just thought, I think it was To Sir with Love, Sidney Poitier film. Susie Kendall was in that.
Susie
S-U-Z-Y.
Yes.
And I just thought, I'd like to have that name. But of course, at that time, I wasn't telling
I
anyone.
wonder why they blurred that image out. Perhaps The Independent, who knows?
Wasn't. I knew I was what it seems now to be trans. I couldn't define it when I was a young kid. But I just sort of think, well, that's not happening. Then I took off as Eddie, and I thought, well, it doesn't matter. And then it's got Edward John in my passport, so...
Look at the weird ears. Anyway, is this person that dissimilar looking to like some of the characters we see on soaps and that get presented to us on TV?
I just thought, why don't I add Susie in there?
Yeah.
And then there's all this people not showing what to...
Strange ears, whether they've had them reduced down.
And I said, well, I prefer Susie, but I don't mind Eddie. I prefer she, her, don't mind he, him.
Right.
No one can make a mistake with me unless they call me Gregory or Sabrina, and then that's not quite right.
That's not quite, and you would have to correct
but
them.
everything else, no one can make a mistake,
Sure.
but they could choose. So,
So
I thought
you're
I'd make
quite
it really easy.
relaxed.
Okay, so when they finally give us a man that trans to a woman, wow, they look pretty out there. It does make me wonder, what were they in the first place? Who knows? Greetings to Amy. Asked, did you ever say the cause of death of Nicola Bulley? Definitely gone quiet on that front. Let's go back to that one. Was it not a police officer, or no, they just went missing, that was right. Gotcha, I remember now. Yeah, they have gone quiet. The first result is GoFundMe with what, in my opinion, is totally CGI'd image. I mean, are these kids like almost look like they're Siamese? I don't think they are. But yeah, I mean, compared to some stories that we see get the sort of attention this one did, 38 grand isn't that, you know, obviously it's a heck of a lot of money, but it's compared to the money that was raised for people like the baby, Azalea Kane, of course, the 1.5 million Ashley Kane raised for that supposed baby. Who was the guy who fought off the terror attacks? Roy Larner. I think the money donated to him was in the hundreds of thousands. So as for what actually, interestingly, one of the results that come up are something to do with despicable drug gangs, fundraisers. It all seems to be about fundraising. Whether they're still doing daily press conferences, I can't imagine. Yeah, I mean, even daily press conferences are way too much for a missing person. The amount of coverage that this story got is what would alert me that it's all a load of nonsense. Right, we'll just watch this one to see what information we got on them. Okay, maybe the video's not going to play after all. Oh, okay.
Nicola's family have asked that we release the following statement
Very quiet.
on their behalf as follows. Our family liaison officers have had to confirm our worst fears today. We will never be able to comprehend what Nikki had gone through in her last moments, and that will never leave us.
We'll never be able to comprehend it, so I think they're saying we'll never know.
We will never forget Nikki. How could we? She was the centre of our world. She was the one who made our lives so special, and nothing will cast a shadow over that.
Does she have a passing resemblance to the police officer that was involved? Let's have a look. Yeah, considering it got such mass attention at one point. Okay, we've got I mean, I'm guessing that's a spokesperson for the family, or is it meant to be one of the family members? I'm not sure. But yeah, this guy looks like he's got a fake beard on, for definite. Oh, they're going to make us watch an advert. We don't need the videos. Yeah, I think what came out of this was that they ended up putting loads of railings around the river where this person supposedly went missing. And supposedly some of the street names where it took place. Let's have a look. Was it Brighton Road or Bradford Road that had changed? Let me just... Blackpool Lane. Is this where the black paint... Is it St. Michael's on Wire? Is that where it happened? The area that was not covered. Okay, we could look for it on... Yeah, I mean, how over the top is this image as well? I mean, bear in mind, it's one missing person, and yeah, of course, you want to do all you can for someone if they go missing, but getting people to stand around holding these placards up, it seems nothing more than just to absolutely divert people's attention towards it. Right, Blackpool Lane in at St Michael's. We'll see if it's still on Google Maps. Let's see. Right. I know you particularly said it was on Google Earth. But yeah, I guess it would be a bit odd that there's no street view on this. I guess it would be a bit strange that the name of a road that was in such a high profile event would suddenly change. Almost as if they're trying to cover their tracks. Yeah, whether anything more will happen about Nicola Bulley or if it would just be a story that kind of fades away, hard to say. AJ says her selfies are too sharp to be real selfies. They look like professional pics. Yeah, most definitely. And there is also one of them where she's smiling and the mouth just doesn't look in the least bit real. And this story also seemed to be all about police errors and how many errors they made. Yeah, look at the mouth here. Does not look real in the least. As I say, usually it's the ears they mess up. The mouth they generally do okay with. But come on, surely we can see the problem here. What is this bit? People's mouths do not generally bend up in such a ridiculous manner. That is the giveaway in that image, I think. Well, there's probably more if we look close enough. Yeah, on the one hand, they do look like... They do look good quality, but then again, they're actually really low quality when you try and zoom in or look closely at them. Let's have a look. The mouth again. Well, and the whole... Yeah, they've done a better job with the mouth, but it's still not... It's still too long in my book. Again, you'd have to judge for yourselves on that one. But yeah, a lot of her selfies. And I did keep noticing that people being interviewed, like her friends, would... I mean, what a terrible picture this is as well. And these images all... yeah, a lot of her friends or witnesses actually looked identical to her. Yeah, that doesn't... It looks very lifeless, like it's lacking some sort of... Like it's not a real person. That is my personal view on this one. Again, the mouth far too wide. This is supposed to be one of the identifiers that when you see images of this person, you're not actually supposed to look so closely at things like their mouth, their teeth, their ears, or the fact their eyes look slightly off center. And that one almost looks like it's pointing in a completely different direction. That kind of looks like it should be someone's, well, as we're looking at her, it would be her left eye. That looks like it's two left eyes on the same face, actually. I don't know, that... yeah, it doesn't quite look right to me either. Yeah, and the, this guy, I mean, I know it might look quite realistic, but again, the beard, the chin, none of it looks particularly legitimate. This guy's strange shaped ear. I mean, it's not often you see people with actual square ears. Ears are generally curved. You do get bumpy bits on them, of course, but look at that. Come on. Is that as good as it? Is that the best effort they could do on an ear? As I say, it's got almost a right angle here. It's yeah, bordering on the bizarre. Again, another member of the Weird Ear Club. I expect Nicola has as well, if we get an opportunity to look closely at her ears, although in most pictures they seem to be covered up. Oh, here's one. Here is one. The last ear picture we're going to look at before we go to our intermission. Well, we'll be going to our break very soon. We will be streaming tonight till about 11:30. It's such, as AJ says, the image is you know, the face looks too in focus, but the actual overall quality of the pictures just look darn right strange. Yeah, AJ says the eyes don't look human. Amy, yeah, agrees the mouth is fake AF. AJ says almost like it's a composite. I think that is exactly what it is. Maria says they were the red flag, the selfies. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing this, because these are the images, though, that get put on the front pages of the Sun newspaper. Jeff says got the Joker's mouth from Batman. Yeah, it's when she smiles, that cornering of the mouth just is way over the, you know, exaggerated. Maria suggests the friend Emma looks identical. Is this her? I know someone gave an interview and they almost seem to be fighting back the dupe in delight. Zara Tyndall also happens to look a lot like Nicola. I will point that out, but first the search is continuing for the mother of two whose phone was found still connected to a work call with her dog running loose. Gosh, that sounds weird. Yeah, Emma White. There is a kind of weird similarity between them. Does this look like the face of a woman who is worried about her friend? Or does it look like someone who's desperately trying to suppress a laugh? Let's have a look at this video. We do, of course, have to watch a 30-second video. Yeah, after we look at this, we're going to go to an intermission. The video I'm going to leave you with for... How long does it go on for? I believe it's a 6.5 minute video. And it will be called... Patrice Evra, that was it. A video I made about Patrice Evra back in 2017.
Like the white.
I saw her on the morning. It's surreal as we dropped the kids off at school. I gave her a quick wave because we're going on our busy routines of the day. Physically spoke to her the day before.
So you're in regular.
Okay. Oh, every time I pause it, it blurs out the display, which is annoying. So perhaps I'll just keep it playing but mute it.
In regular contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
With her.
Yeah.
And speaking to other friends of hers, it seems that this is completely out of character to just disappear without saying anything to anyone.
Yeah.
No, that's perfectly like, you know, does that all does that sort of thing all the time. Goes missing for a couple of days, and every time we call the press in, we call the police in, and believe me, they're all over it. No, first time she goes missing, and the press and the police make the biggest deal out of it ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at the routine she's done on the day. She's on a work call. She's quickly arranged a play date just 1 minute before. We're seeing it at the weekend. They've got plans for next. You know, it's all, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Today was obviously milestone, 7 days. We thought if somebody for whatever reason hasn't seen the media, let's get out on that road and spread that word. Get Nikki's face.
Yeah, that was a obvious photo opportunity where her friends and family are supposedly stood along a street. I bet the minute the cameras left, the minute the photographers left, they left as well, because that was just a photo opportunity. How much time and resources were put towards one missing person? Well, absolutely, yes, someone goes missing. People, those closest to them, will of course go looking for them. But do friends and family really have the time to just pack up their life and dedicate all this time just to holding plaques up, even though it's a story that it's almost impossible to avoid hearing about if you live in the United Kingdom?
Face out there, contact details. We had a big blowing man just to create attention. And actually, I can say
she had a big what? A big blow up something just to create attention.
It has contact details. We had a big blowing man just to create attention. And actually, I can say it has received an influx of calls to 101. The liaison officer with Paul has called him a short time ago, and they are looking into all the calls that they're receiving as we speak.
So you're saying that today, probably as a direct result of what you guys have been doing, the police are saying they've had more calls.
No, she's not saying that. You're saying that. You are feeding her lines, which is what every good reporter does, I guess. Yes, there is definitely a similarity between these two people. I've muted her now. If we see whether we see any telltale signs that this might not be as legit. She does seem to have a smirk going on under. She's not even trying to hide it either. Almost like she's just happy to be interviewed. And yes, certainly has a kind of weird resemblance to Nicola herself. So yeah, well spotted. Jeff says, I've known a few people who were murdered, but nothing in the papers or TV. No, I've known people. I've personally known one person I knew that was actually murdered that I can remember. I mean, I've known other people that died or in hospital, so of course that's not murder, but only one person, and it was when I was a kid. And like back in the 80s, the woman, his wife was carrying on with someone else. He was a piece of crap. The guy who got murdered was the biggest scumbag. You know, he used to. I won't go into details, but just a cowardly, vile piece of crap that would probably. I'm not going to say anyone deserves getting murdered, but this person. His wife left him or ran off with someone else. He supposedly went to talk to him about something, and they murdered him and buried him in the boyfriend's garden. That story is impossible to find anything about online. Apparently my brother, who was a couple of years older than me, and remembers it just as well as me. I mean, we were friends with say friends. The parents were such scumbags, but to begin with, we were kind of friends with them. Anyway, horrible things went on there. But there's nothing at all in the papers about it. Who was that other person we suggested looked a bit like Nicola? Was it Zara something? Zara Tyndall. I mean, not exactly like for like, but has some of the same features going on. I mean, okay, and it looks like there's other stories about blonde women who ended up in the river. I mean, it looks like they're full of it. Alleged divers called in to search for women missing after a night out. The River Trent, 39-year-old. Mum tragically found daughter, 30. So, are some of these legit, or are they just the same story being written out time and time again with suspect-looking people? I don't know. I mean, as I say, I don't know anything about these people, so I'm not gonna judge, but if you look, I mean, this was back in 2020. Sometimes you can see the exact same story written out a second time. But anyway, as for that person, yeah, I wouldn't be so heartless without even looking at it to suggest that it's on the same scale as Nicola Bulley, so I'll leave that one where it is. But yeah, what do you think? Zara and Nicola. Similar, maybe not there so much, but where are we? Right. Yeah, Amy says for her supposed friend, she doesn't sound like she's distraught. No, talks very casually about it, like it's no big deal, like it's her moment to shine. She's in front of a camera. And did you see how she had her eyelashes? Did I close that page? I probably did, know me. Let's see. Yeah, how casual she was about it. She even had her makeup done, which is not what you would expect. There we go. So, I mean, the fact they use this as the thumbnail says it all. Oh, I'm going up. Yeah, I know I'm distraught about my friend going missing, but I'm going in front of the cameras, so I'm going to get my eyes done up like a prostitute. Well, no. Yeah, and that is what I would say is GU-ping delight. Right, we've gone 11:30. Sorry, we've gone 11 o'clock. I was going to take a quick intermission. Yeah, we've got a 6-minute video to watch from... This is an old one of mine, going back to 2018. Sorry, 2017. I did re-upload it probably a little bit later, but... yeah, while I just refill my drink and whatnot, I am going to leave you with this short video. Patrice Evra publicity stunt. Before we do, I'm just going to have a look. Maria says a YouTuber called Mind Juice True Crime has done some really good research on the Bully case. Thank you for sharing that one, Maria. Do you know what? We'll maybe have a look at the channel when we come back from our quick break. Actually, before we do, this might be a good opportunity to just suggest anyone that likes what they see so far, if you want to hit the thumbs up button, that is always appreciated. Subscribing and sharing on social media is also always massively appreciated. I'd also like to invite anyone that wants to see what I do over on Patreon to go to patreon.com/BZLive. On that note, I would like to thank Linda Mack, Skeptic936, Nathan Oakley and Midnight Scribbler for very generously supporting this channel. Thanks ever so much. Okay, I'll be back in 5 or 6 minutes. Thanks to everyone in the live, everyone who's tuned in, especially those in the live chat. It is much appreciated to have some interactions. And if you've got any subjects you want us to look at before we finish up tonight in the last half an hour, by all means pop them in the chat. Okay, I've got to go and, yeah, my mouth's getting really dry. I'm going to have to get a drink. I'll be back very shortly. See you soon. Hey everyone. Right, for some time now I've been of the opinion that the majority, if not everything, of things you hear and read in mainstream media is not true. Maybe some of it is, but unless you can prove otherwise, I personally don't believe it. Now, like I say, there was a time when I would think, well, we might as well skip straight to the back and read the sports pages. But I now seem to think that they're as full of fake news as the rest of the newspaper that you're likely to read. One such story that's come about, which I think to me is just a publicity stunt, is Patrice Evra kung fu kicks a fan. This happened, well, it was reported on the 2nd of November, following a Europa League football game with Marseille. He's a former Manchester United player who has been in the news in the past for receiving racial abuse. So let's read the story. We'll watch the videos that they've made available of Patrice Evra kicking a fan, and I'll tell you why I don't buy it. This is from the Metro. Right. Patrice Evra faced serious sanctions after appearing to kung fu kick a fan in the head prior to a Europa League match. The 36-year-old defender, now playing for Marseille, was sent off because of the incident which happened prior to his side's game with Vitória in Portugal on Thursday. Evra was reportedly targeted with chants by travelling Marseille fans who are unhappy with his performance this season as he warmed up for the match. As he went to leave the pitch and return to the dressing room, he and some of his teammates became embroiled in a heated exchange with travelling supporters who had made their way down to the hoardings by the side of the pitch. Things turned violent, with Evra kicking out at one of his side's own supporters. Patrice Evra appears to kick a Marseille supporter. Right, my problem with this particular bit, it says Evra was reportedly targeted with chants by travelling Marseille fans. Now, these football stadiums are rigged up with microphones all around them and cameras all around them. If Marseille fans were chanting at Patrice Evra, there would be footage of it. There would be recordings of it. We don't see it. In fact, another newspaper report suggests that Patrice Evra started the trouble by kicking a ball at the fans, but again, cameras everywhere, no footage. I will finish reading the story. Despite the game having not even started with Evra among the substitutes, he was given a red card by the referee. It meant Marseille saw their numbers of subs reduced to 6. The former Manchester United defender will face an automatic 3-match ban for his sending off, but is almost certain to be extended due to the severity of the situation. When former Manchester United striker Eric Cantona kicked out a Crystal Palace supporter, he was banned for the game for 8 months. Not only was he banned, but he became a massive star and went on to appear on adverts. I think he's even been in films. I think there was one specifically about Eric Cantona, and it was massive for his profile. And we also read that the fans were unhappy with Patrice Evra, who is 36 years old. He's at the end of his football career now. He was a substitute. He wasn't even in the team lineups. Like I say, he's not playing very well, so it probably wouldn't matter if he was banned. If this was the end of his football career, he would go out with his profile massively raised. Now, anyway, let's look at the footage. I mean, like I say, there's cameras, there's microphones everywhere. We would surely be able to see what happens. Right, this is a video by BT Sport. Brilliant view of the whole situation. And something else I'll point out. At this point, it's a pitch invasion. You have one steward single-handedly trying to push them back. Believe me, in a football ground, if you get a pitch invasion, the steward's on you like a rush. You do not get on the pitch, put it that way. Now a bit of pushing and shoving. And Evra's pulled back. And then next thing we see, he's back in the dugout. Right, now this is a video from Go Sport. This just demonstrates how many cameras and pictures and better angles there were available. Here we go. The arm's up, by the way. That guy's arm is in the way of the kick, so he doesn't even end up getting kicked in the head. And again, there's a photographer stood right there, probably even a cameraman. But let's see what great video footage we get of the kicking incident. And is this the face of a deceiver? Now you may ask yourself, would footballers You know, they got enough money. They don't need to privileged position where they could say, no, I'm not taking part in deception. But take a look at events like the Manchester MEN Arena, where Cristiano Ronaldo was one of the first people to make a statement to come out and talk about what went on there. So these people are as embroiled in what I believe are fake events as maybe like a newsreader or eyewitnesses. Anyway, let's see this great footage of Evra kicking a fan. Like I say, cameras everywhere. Cameras all around the ground, okay? Ready for it? What? Why are we suddenly relying on someone's smartphone? There's a cameraman right there. Barely 2 or 3 stewards. A cameraman right there. And we're actually going to see a close-up in a minute. Was that a photographer walking away? Hang on, mate. This is a huge moment. Why are you walking away from the incident? And why are the stewards not running in to clear the pitch of invading fans? There's that kick. And finally, we'll see a close-up. But as we know, the guy puts his arm up and doesn't even get kicked anyway. Yeah, this is just, in my opinion, a big publicity stunt for Patrice Evra. And I'm going to call bell shit on it. Give us any thoughts or opinions. Thank you very much. Okay, greetings and welcome back to the second part of the stream, where we're gonna carry on at least for another 15 minutes, see if there's any subjects we haven't looked at. By the way, AJ says that while Nicola Bulley's friend may be smirking, it's not necessarily dupe and delight, and I think you're absolutely right. Perhaps it's worth having a look at what actually dupe and delight is, in case anyone's not familiar with it. My understanding is it's a very short, brief, involuntary smirk that a person just can't help doing. Let's see. And it generally comes at it's someone who is lying and is kind of just getting a burst of, like, a rush from the fact that they've just tricked someone, or that they're lying, and a particular micro expression. That is something we looked at the other week with Ariana Grande's brother Frankie, when he was asked, do you keep in touch with any of the survivors of the Manchester Arena attack? And he says yes, but shakes his head no. I have actually made a short of that in case you want to watch it. And dupe and delight is a micro expression a person will display that betrays a sense of enjoyment they're getting out of controlling and deceiving another person. It is a very important expression to watch out for in catching dishonesty in a person. There are numerous other signs, actually. There's one, I believe, called chatting with hand gestures. This might, you could do all sorts of searches. Signs of a liar. Often over-embellishing a particular story. Right, top 10 signs. This is from forensiccolleges.com. We'll have a quick look at them. A change in speech patterns. A telltale sign someone is not telling the truth is irregular speech. So they might jump from being over embellishing stories to suddenly coming down. The use of non-congruent gestures. If a person says yes but shakes their head no, it may indicate that they're not telling the truth. As I say in the case of Frankie Grande, said yes but shook his head no. We also saw Rachel Riley from Countdown when she was being interviewed about having Ukrainian refugees living with her. They were asking her a question, and while she was saying yes or giving a positive response, she was blatantly shaking her head no, saying too much. On the flip side, researchers have determined that liars trying to deceive stretch the truth with too many words. Of course, once you lie, you have to back it up with other lies. It is a very unfortunate situation to find yourself in, having to lie about just tiny little things in order to prop up a much bigger lie. And the only way you can do that is, for me, if you want to catch out a liar, just let them talk and they will eventually give themselves away. An unusual rise or fall in vocal tone, again, it's very similar to the earlier one about changing speech patterns. An important point raised around culture, context and communication. Emphasizes that researchers must consider cultural bias when determining a liar or not. There's another thing about, here we are, the next one, direction of their eyes. They often supposedly look up to the right, I think, and that's the look into the creative side or the imaginative side of the brain. If a person isn't making eye contact, they aren't telling the truth. Or in some cultures, eye contact can be considered untrustworthy. Covering their mouth or eyes, that's another one you see a lot. People will literally block their mouth. Or another thing, they'll try and divert your attention away from their mouth, I believe. Excessive fidgeting. This is something we saw in the case of, what was that woman? Amanda Lindhout, who apparently was gang raped for 8 months at the hands of, was it Somali kidnappers or something? And the mother, when she's given her interview, constantly fidgeting with her hands. They may lick their lips, look at their nails, or even shake their hands. And that's chatting with the hands, I believe. Finger pointing, literally or figuratively. The act of pointing at or towards something or someone else with gestures or words may signal a surefire desire to take a focus off an individual and place blame onto someone else. Of course, knowing that the person is normally gesticular or finger points frequently can be a helpful baseline. However, if someone speaks in a measured demeanour as opposed to a hostile one that includes finger pointing, the aggressive switch may indicate someone is lying. And number 10, self-identifying as a good liar. Perhaps the easiest way to spot a liar is to let them do it for you. Showed that to identify good liars are more of an honest indicator than the lie detector. I have heard apparently lie detectors don't actually obviously give you a yes/no answer. All they're really doing is it's the person that it's at the discretion of the person doing the test. Is one, the test itself doesn't identify anything. It's how the results are read. The study shows good liars mostly told little lies to colleagues and friends in person and focused on telling simple and clear stories. If someone brags about being a good liar, don't trust them. Is it possible to tell if someone is lying? I think yes, it is. Also, another thing to look out for, people reading scripts or remembering a script. In the case of people on television, quite often they're actors. They may not know why they're being brought on and expected to, give an account. All they're told is that just get on there, please. AJ says dupe and delight, smiles and smirks are supposed to be uneven. I hadn't heard that one. Jeff says, just imagine Rachel queuing up for the bathroom. Yeah, she used a typical cliche, Rachel Riley, when she said about Ukrainian refugees. She said, oh, I can't leave a... what was it she said? I can't leave a potato or a radish unattended without it being turned into borscht. Because, of course, every Ukrainian's constantly waiting for an opportunity to make borscht. Also, I believe that's Turkish, not Ukrainian, but perhaps they make it in Turkey as well. Yeah, we will have a very quick look at Rachel Riley, just to see if they're still telling us about... Just to see if we can catch any of her quick, her lies. Wow, they've even taken... Ukrainian refugees who fled shocked to learn amazing hosts are a famous couple. So they didn't know the people that were putting them up. What a load of crap. Are we supposed to believe Rachel Riley's took all these people in? What an absolute joke. We are going to look at the channel that Maria mentioned, by the way, about Mind Juice before we go.
Ukrainian refugee Sasha Borisenko, the British woman, and her husband who offered to give her family a home were already stars in her eyes. First, they had kindly taken...
Have they only got one photograph or something? Because they keep showing the same image over and over. Again, look at this. I guess this meant to be a woman. Cannot jump to conclusions. But anything look weird about this one? Yeah, slightly big, exaggerated jaw, I guess you could say.
And her aunt Galia.
Right, we're not seeing any images of Rachel.
Now they were offering
they just keep
shelter to
literally showing
Sasha,
the same image
her
over and over
8-year-old
again.
Son Makita and her mom, Luba.
Right, they need a decent video editor, photo. Okay, I'm not sure if we'll find that particular video now. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, this is like literally from an hour ago, so yeah, they're still 100% talking about this story. Hang on. By the way, I wonder what Rachel Riley would be in numerology. Let's see. Maybe we should go to videos, actually. Nope, there's so many that I don't know if we will find that particular interview. We did look at it a couple of weeks ago, though, and I believe we caught some micro expressions. Right. Do you know what? We are going to be wrapping up very soon. We'll be finishing for the evening, as we are fast approaching 11:30. In fact, this week I am going to try and do a early morning stream on Tuesday. I currently do one on a Thursday evening, a Sunday evening. I'm actually, for the first time, going to try doing a third live stream in a week. I mean, I might have done it before. If anyone is around Thursday in the early hours, I'm not sure how early, probably something like, I mean, I'd like to do it like 8 o'clock, but it'll be sometime 8 till 10, just because I do a lot of these streams in the evening, and if there's anyone out there in the mornings, perhaps people in other parts of the world that would like, then yeah, an early morning one would be ideal. This was another story I was thinking of looking at this evening about a woman that supposedly could not give birth, was told she wouldn't be able to give birth. 21 years old, just had 2 sets of twins. 2 sets of identical twins. Could be a genuine story, who knows. But knowing how fake many of the... I mean, do these babies look... Does this image look real? Of course, YouTube are a bit touchy about putting minors on videos, and they will literally shut your comment section down for it. So I'm not going to focus too much on these, but have a look at some of these kids. How real, or how maybe it's just an absolutely terrible picture. Like the photographer used a really rubbish camera, but what's going on with this? Look at the baby's stuck up round nose. I don't know. The elbow also seems to have an indentation there, unless it's just being covered by the mattress. I mean the blanket. I'm not sure. Maybe that's one we'll look at another time. We might come back to that story. Although it does, I'm not sure. I haven't looked closely enough at it to give a judgment one way or the other. Right. Yeah, as I say, I aim to come back and do an early morning one. It might be slightly different. It might more be rather than looking at fake news, unless anyone's got any, it might be more of a, we'll see. I was asked by one of my supporters, Midnight Scribbler, if I could direct them to a video about Sabbath observance, because I do often mention I observe the Sabbath day, the 7th day, sundown on Friday till sundown Saturday, and I highly recommend it. And he did ask, "Do you've got any good videos on observing the Sabbath day?" So I might discuss it on that one, one way or another. Yeah, I'll certainly be back Thursday, if not before. But my plan is that I will do a stream on Tuesday morning. If you are around for that, it'd be really good to catch up with you. Okay. Right, one final thing. I noticed the word vaccines were trending on... we were going to look at Mind Juice, weren't we, before we go? I'm just blown away how many stories now are coming out about injuries from treatment plans that people took. Things like Trump supposedly saying he's not going to fund any school that has a mandate. I also heard someone say something. Here we've got this footage of all the newsreaders and stuff that started collapsing.
Of heart problems in young vaccinated teenagers.
For me, whilst I don't doubt people are getting ill for one reason or another, I do wonder if some of these aren't quite clear.
Ending up with inflammation around the heart, causing chest pain and shortness of breath. Myocarditis is noted by the Canadian Pediatric Society as a possible side effect of mRNA.
Judge for yourself, I'm not. Right, AJ says Rachel is an Ashkenazi, and Ukraine is their homeland, so wonderfully supporting this. Ashkenazi, is that another name for... sorry, it's getting late, I'm starting to get tired. Khazarian? Ashkezani? Because I believe Ukraine is involved with... Again, people have suggested the Ukraine is the home. Right. Whatever's going on with people collapsing, please don't live in fear. Please don't ever feel the need to put your faith anywhere but God. That's my advice. Of course, others are totally, going to think otherwise, no doubt. But yeah. It's paid off, always, me trusting in God. So, living in fear, not worth the time. Right, what was the name of the channel that Maria suggested? Mind Juice. I will put a link to this one in the live chat, in the description, and maybe the live chat as well. because it isn't one I've heard of before, I don't think. Let's see. Apparently they've done a lot of work. Well, they've looked closely at the... Is this the same one? Maybe there's other channels. Hang on. True Crime, sorry. It was this one, True Crime. Nicola Bulley, last piece. Wow, they have certainly done an awful lot of work on it. So thank you for suggesting this, Maria. I am going to put a link to it in tonight's live chat and also the description. Although I would, of course, be interested to see what they come up with. I mean, whether they came to the same conclusion we have, that face is photoshopped AF, or not. But yeah, that is the channel, and no doubt a lot of those videos would make for interesting viewing. AJ says some are Russian Jews, some Russian Jews are also Ashkenazi. Gotcha, okay. I was told Khazarians were fake Jews, or something along those lines. People that present themselves, such as, I don't know, Alan Yentob, have you heard of him? Happened to be the head of both Channel 4 and BBC, like controlled both stations, which, I mean, to get yourself in that sort of position is pretty incredible. Apparently people also interested in Yentob are interested in Grayson the Freak Perry. I wonder why. Okay, we are gonna start winding down. Maria says, yes, I think he's Ashkenazi Jewish. See, I've not actually heard of that one. Let's just jump on the Bound to Be Ready-Made Wikipedia and see if they mention Ashkenazi. Iraqi Jewish. The Kazams. Oh, that's a family name. I'll see if we can find it on the page. Obviously, Wikipedia, I'm not saying it's just because it's the first answer. No, it doesn't appear to come up. But yeah, if people were talking about fake Jews, he's maybe one of the people I would look at. And I've no doubt there's lots of Jewish people in the media. So, yeah, maybe that is one for another day. Okay, I am now gonna start winding down. As I said, I do have a video to play out with, looking at the back in 2021 or something, the press suggested that some baby was the first baby born with bullshit 19. So all the hospital, when this baby finally left, no matter what they were doing, just stopped. All the patients were turfed out, and the couple were applauded as they left the hospital. As I say, you don't see any other patients. This must have been a pretty empty hospital, I will say that. Before we do go, I'm going to thank AJ Wild, Maria Ellender, Jeff Gashead, Amy, let's see, who else? Amy, Midnight Scribbler, Tony Whitcomb, Nathan Oakley, for taking the time to comment in tonight's live chat. Thank you ever so much. And I would also, as I've already said, like to thank my Patreon supporters, Linda Mack and Skeptic936, and also I'd like to thank Nathan Oakley and sorry, Linda Mac and Midnight Scribbler over on Patreon, plus Skeptic936, Nathan Oakley for supporting this channel. And finally, I do invite you, before you leave, if you want to hit the like button, if you haven't already, subscribe and share if you haven't done such things already, and you think this video is worthy of such a honour, then please do. I've just seen in the chat, Rachel's husband is Russian. Interesting. I guess that's them, why they went to great efforts to show themselves taking in Ukrainian refugees. And AJ says Ashkenazi is an ethnic group. Most are Jews, but not all. Okay, good to know. Thank you. Yeah, I've got to admit that is something I'm a bit ignorant on, so I thank you for sharing the information. Quite often when people mention stuff in the live chat, I will at some point, then it will come up again in my life, for one reason or another. And I appreciate being made aware of it. So thank you for commenting. Okay, we're gonna wind down. As I said, we got a video from September. Can dolls catch it? By it, obviously I mean BS19. Okay, yeah, thanks ever so much for tuning in. I will be back on Tuesday, that is the plan. Otherwise, I'll certainly be back Thursday. Okay, I'm going to say goodnight. Otherwise, I'll be rambling for the next half an hour. And I'm aware it's getting late. Apparently it's an hour later than it was due to... Or is it an hour earlier? I forget. The clocks went forward. So I guess actually, yeah, it's earlier than it would be, but in my head it's still nearly midnight, so I am going to wind out now. Okay, take care everyone, have a great week, great few days, and I'll be back soon. I hope you can tune in. Thanks ever so much for joining us this evening, and enjoy my video from September 2020. Good night, over and out. Hi everyone, now I came across this video on this channel. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't like the blasphemy, but I will leave a link in the description.